How long does it take to get better with tinnitus? I get asked this question all the time, and people often say, well, will it take one session of craniosacral therapy or 30 sessions? How many months will it take until I get over this? So the first thing to say that when you start working on yourself and having craniosacral therapy and you start learning a body-based practice like yoga or Tai Chi, you can expect to start feeling better in yourself almost immediately. I always ask people to have a minimum of 6 sessions, so that's one cranial session once a week for 6 weeks, because that normally gives people enough of a sense of improvement to be motivated to continue working on themselves and to also learn about how to let go and release so that their tinnitus backs off. So if you want to make a full recovery from tinnitus, so you're able to have long periods of silence inside your head when you're in a quiet room, this is going to take some time. It does happen rarely that you can give somebody a cranial session and their tinnitus switches off and that's it. It takes, can take 1 or 2 sessions, but for the vast majority of people, it's much more common to gradually get better over time. So, for example, when I had my first cranial sacral therapy session, I'd never had help before, and so reaching out and allowing myself to be supported, lying on the couch by somebody else, it was a lovely experience, and I felt my whole system really settling, and I also heard my tinnitus shifting, which was really surprising. I didn't expect that at all. And so quite quickly, I felt much more relaxed and much calmer in myself. And so that was enough for me to motivate me to continue on this journey. So the first stage of getting better, when you start noticing tinnitus backing off and you stop focusing on it and you just get very used to it and you can put your energy into other things. For me, with most people, you can start to experience a significant improvement in a couple of months. But if you want to go on to making a full recovery, and I'm not just talking about habituation here, I'm talking about your tinnitus going, so you have extended periods of silence, and maybe it comes back a bit when you're stressed or something happens. This takes much longer, and it can take up to a couple of years. I work with people very closely sometimes, so we work once a week for months and years, and the progress may be a bit lumpy and bumpy. There are ups and downs along the way, but the overall trajectory is tinnitus coming down, getting better. Sometimes your rate of progress can be steady, where you're just improving gradually. Other times it can plateau a bit and then you can come down again. Or other times you can suddenly plummet into a deep sense of calm and stillness, and you really turn a corner and feel much better, and the symptoms back right off. Commonly this happens well into your therapeutic journey, so it might be anything between 6 months to 2 years. But that sounds daunting. If I say to you it's going to take 2 years to get better, that sounds like, you want to get from base camp to the top of Mount Everest in one jump. But the reality of this is you start feeling better and better as you go along, and you get increasing sense of relaxation and calm and more space with symptoms. You start forgetting about it. You start not focusing on it, so it backs off and is no longer on top of you, so to speak, and then you can really experience the quietness gathering and symptoms back off. It tends to be a gradual process, and hopefully you'll have enough real experiences of well-being and calm and stillness along the way that will motivate you to keep going. Remember that this state that we're in can kind of change, and we can get ourselves worked up, and then other times we can calm right down. So, if you have a bit of plain sailing in your life and you're in a therapeutic process, and you can expect to make good progress. So if you work on yourself and stay on track, it really can smooth out into a much, much deeper, more grounded, calm state. And you can build up this sort of strength that it takes more to rile you or throw you out of kilter or to bring on a tinnitus spike. You get stronger and calmer and clearer. And you also develop the tools along the way how to self-soothe, how to help yourself settle. This is another really important benefit of having therapy. The great thing about body work and having therapy is that you can have an immediate sense of calm. Every time I go and have a cranial session, at the end, I get off the couch and my head's clear and my body feels really peaceful. And I get off the couch and stand on my feet and I feel a nice connection down to the ground. I feel really anchored. And it's topping that up and deepening into this stillness and calm and lack of stress-related symptoms like tinnitus.